All right, I'd like to call to order the Little Miami School Board meeting, Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. Roll call.
Mrs. Horvath?
Here.
Mr. Siebert?
Here.
Mrs. Bullock?
Here.
Mr. Wallace?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Thank you.
All right, this time, ask you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, before we start, I wanted to just give a quick shout out and a thank you to the maintenance. Certainly this building looks absolutely fantastic given the weather conditions that they've been fighting, as well as the parking lots. So your hard work certainly has not gone unnoticed. So thank you, Dave Flory and your team. At this time, I'd like to make a, I guess, to adopt the agenda.
I'll move. I'll second.
Discussion? No discussion? All right. Vote?
Mrs. Horvath?
Yes.
Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Mrs. Bullock?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
All right, the next item is contracts.
Yeah, ask for the board's approval under item B number 1, the contract as listed.
So moved?
Second?
Yeah, and this contract is with David C. DeMuzio Incorporated. The DeMuzios are actually attorneys. It is a father and son, actually, that have been working on real estate tax matters, board revision cases. When appeals come across board revisions, they have to meet certain criteria based on the law that was passed a few years ago. And this law firm is very well versed in this. I've been working with districts nearby for 20-plus years and have a great reputation. So I'd recommend that we could use them to go forward with our board revision cases.
Yeah, if we could just add a second on that. This is kind of a volume business in a sense. It's not that I can't do it. I have done this kind of work. It's just that, like in Columbus area, there's one firm that represents pretty much every school district specifically on this. All they ever do is this, nothing other than this every day, dealing with property valuations, and these folks are actually based out of or nearby us, and they do the same business, and it's just more efficient. And I thought, since we only have one case pending, we can give them a try, see how it goes, and go from there.
All right. Any discussion?
So I did want to just clarify a few things. Obviously, we just hired a new attorney, and now we're hiring another attorney. So I think it would be important for people to understand that maybe this is typical, and/or how often we might expect to have to hire a secondary attorney. And are there times when we're paying both of you at the same time, or is it always either him or you?
There will never be an overlap because this is specifically one area. Like, districts have multiple aspects of law that come at us, right? So you could have employment issues. Happens to be tax issues, board legal compliance issues. There's all these different. It's possible to have in one firm, but most school districts contract different firms depending on the area. In this particular case, it's one firm dedicated to tax. That's all they do. If you called them about something for an IEP, they couldn't help, or something to do with, any of the other things that we're dealing with, a student admission issue, or what, all of those kind of issues are issues I'm dealing with. This is just a very small subset. It's not that I can't deal with it, it's that because these people only do this and they do it every single day, they have that sort of the volume aspect. So when they go to court, they're handling a whole bunch at the same time, and I would be just going in to handle one. So there's an efficiency with people that's all they do. And that's why I'm suggesting that it's good to retain them, and it's very, very within the norm. And Regina can speak to this as well. Most school districts have one that specializes in this kind of matter. I believe in the previous firm that the board had, they had one actual attorney that specialized within the firm on this topic. So it's either way, it's always one person that's really specialized on this tax topic, and whether it's just within one firm or within multiple firms, that's, you know, districts do it both ways, and in this particular, and there's no double paying. So I'm not going to be charging for anything to do with this. It's, if we have a case relating to this, they handle it. But I'll be paying attention to the situation. I mean, obviously, if they start, you know, dramatically overcharging or going in some kind of like really high level of hours or whatnot, where it becomes, where it's like, well, wait a minute, I could have done this cheaper and faster than like, what's going on here. If there's an issue, I don't anticipate, and they have obviously a good track record with multiple other school districts. If there was an issue, I would bring it to the board and be like, hey, you know, or Terry, you know, but that's kind of where we are,
All right, thank you.
if that helps.
Yes, it does.
All right, any other discussion? All right,
Mr. Siebert,
Yes.
Mrs. Bullock,
Yes.
Mr. Wallace,
yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mrs. Horvath.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, under item 2, ask for the board's approval of Resolution 26005 declaring urgent necessity.
So moved.
Second.
This resolution is actually, when you declare some urgent necessity, obviously, the name alone says that it is an urgent need. We have various, actually, Mr. Conco could go on here, but we have various issues with the roof going on in the central office, where it was kind of raining indoors last week. And we have a lot of water damage and things going on. We don't want it to get any worse. This was actually going out for bid right now, but we don't feel like we can wait this amount of time because we could, obviously, we have a building that's paid for that's worth millions of dollars. We don't want to have any more damage because it'd be crazy to essentially wait months and months, nor would it be a good idea to patch it up and hope it doesn't leak anymore between now and spring, until we can get it done over the summer. So asking for this resolution be passed to go with, we have one quote from American Roofing, who has done some work with us so far, and they've done good work. They also monitor our overall roofing structure over the district, and there could still be quotes coming in, but they're the most current one that we have, and would recommend we go with that, if nothing else comes in materially lower and so on.
Any discussion?
Thank you, Terry, for answering my questions when I.
Oh, no
emailed
problem.
about that. I appreciate
Yes, this is a roofing company that we've dealt with before. They're reputable. They deliver on time, good work.
Yeah, Mr. Flory has worked closely with them on our other jobs. They actually did, I believe, the elementary school, if I'm not mistaken. Different type of roof, it's called a TPO, this is an EPMD, I believe it is. Similar but different material, but flat rubber type roofing structure.
So it wouldn't be to our advantage to wait and get other bids.
Well, you never know, I just, you take the risk, obviously, of having more damage.
I got you.
And I'd hate to have more damage internally
Gotcha.
within the building. Because both it was leaking in the Panther room on the one side and also in the offices on the other side. And it's an original roof.
So it's not just staying where it's at, it's getting worse.
Yeah, I don't think it's leaking today, I don't believe. No. Which is good. But yeah, it was getting worse as the days went on and everything was melting.
Okay.
Well, and the resolution, that was written in a way that we're not stopping getting bids.
Yes.
Because one of the things is that we don't know, like what you're saying is as long as there's a couple of conditions in there. One of them is that the temperature has to be sufficient that when they install the roof, it meets the requirements. And I'm not sure about the weather. I mean, today it was
today
good.
was
Today's beautiful.
Today they could have done it, but tomorrow, who the heck, you know, what knows about that? So the point is, as long as the temperature is, you know, not outside of that zone, we keep getting quotes. If something does come in that's materially lower, then you're authorizing for that to, you know, that to be considered. And actually has to be shared with the board and so forth. So it's all, so we're putting some guide rails on this. But the basic idea is we have to hit a weather window with whatever best quote we have at that time, and to make that work.
Okay. Are we on a list of other projects that they're going to be doing? Do we have to wait even if the weather is fine?
Actually, no. They're supposed to start this Thursday.
Okay.
If it's approved.
That's good, okay.
And they stated to Mr. Flory that, and in their guidelines, we would not have it installed, obviously, if it didn't meet manufacturer guidelines, because it has to be warranted. But they said they would start Thursday, and really all they need is freezing or above
Okay.
to make it work. They said you can go when it's colder, it just takes that much longer for the seals to seam, or the seams to seal and so on. But they should be
Okay.
good to go with the temperatures coming up
Okay.
this week.
Yeah, the only other option technically would be is if you said, hey, let's pay for a patch job, essentially, and delay getting quotes, and then you'd have to, so you'd be you'd be paying the cost of patch jobs essentially to buy yourself time.
Yes.
To get other quotes, and then, is
And the-
that,
And the patchwork doesn't guarantee.
it doesn't guarantee anything,
Correct.
and you might, so, that's why.
Mhm.
This is
Okay,
Thanks.
good discussion. Any more? All right, call to vote?
Mrs. Bullock,
Yes.
Mr. Wallace,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mrs. Horvath,
Yes.
Mr. Seaver.
Yes.
Thank you, that's all I have.
All right. The next item is open enrollment. Mrs. Morgan?
Yes, I've given
Or-
you 3 handouts.
We need to make a motion on this, or we're just going to give an
It
update?
is just a discussion.
Okay,
item.
perfect.
Yeah. So I've given you 3 handouts. One of them is an open enrollment resolution that Mr. Tarazi wrote for us. And the other one is our current policies, 5111 and 5113. So currently in Little Miami, we base our open enrollment on numbers at each grade level, giving staff a priority. With the influx of students in and out, this is very difficult for us to manage. And so we are looking at either having open enrollment where other students can come into Little Miami, or creating a policy that specifies that only staff children can be open enrolled into Little Miami. The difference between the two is open enrollment in general, we get compensation for those students that come. Open enrollment through that policy, we would not have compensation for those students. Currently, we have 22 students that are here following a staff member. We have 2 students that are senior privilege. That's a whole different law. So it's the 22 that we would be working with.
Can you explain what you mean by we don't get compensation?
Yeah, I was gonna say that, typically when you have open enrollment, the money follows the kid to whatever school they used to take the money out from one district and send it to another. But now if a kid open enrolls in, you would get those funds directly to whatever school they're going to. Since we're on the guarantee, we're not getting any additional funds anyway, to be quite honest with you, because we're not above what the minimum amount is we should have got from fiscal year '21. So that way doesn't make a big deal. I believe if you were to go the other way with tuition, they would be coming tuition free.
It would be
Yeah.
tuition free.
Because you can accept students and have them pay tuition, but the way it'd be set up, they'd be tuition free.
Which
So-
means if we weren't on the guarantee, we would still not receive extra funds.
Exactly, yeah. If we were on the formula and they're tuition free, we get nothing. If we were on the formula and they counted, then we would get compensation. But since we're on that guarantee, it wouldn't count.
1,500 students, would you tell me?
Yeah, we're well over 1,000 kids to get off the guarantee, because the way the formula works and the way we are, we have to get that many kids to meet that formula amount from fiscal year '21, if that makes sense.
So if you guys agree with this conversation, what I would do is, we have a March 17th policy meeting that Dave and Dan will attend. We would like to work with Neola and Mark, our Neola rep, to put that language into our policy. It would then come to you as a first read at the March board meeting, and an approval or a full approval at the April board meeting.
Yeah, no, I'm 1,000% in favor of that. I appreciate when the teachers do send their children to our district. It's nice to see their investment as well, so certainly I would encourage that.
I see there at the end of the policy, there's a lot of RCs there. We are in compliance with this, right?
We try to stay in
Yep.
compliance with all of the RCs.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, so just to kind of clarify the thought, it's not, we are going to be not participating in open enrollment, but what we will be doing is offering basically an employee benefit that we will allow them. So that's the distinction. That's what the new policy would be saying. You can't say open enrollment only for some people, but what you can say is we're not doing open enrollment, but we're giving an employee benefit essentially,
And
if
we
that
just
makes
probably
sense.
phase out the senior,
Senior privilege is still a thing. So
Yeah.
senior privilege will be, it's a different
Yeah.
RC.
okay, so that'll
So that
carry,
still
okay.
stays as well. The senior
good.
privilege is, if a family moves out of the district during their senior year, they can continue through our school to complete their senior year.
Excellent.
Okay, so
All right.
I will put that on the March 17th policy review, and then you guys will see it on the March board meeting.
All right. What do we have next here is the, I believe it's the transportation, but I misplaced it here. Yep, Transportation Department presentation we have next.
Thank you for allowing us to talk about transportation. I'm Chad Conkle. I am the district administrative representative. I oversee transportation. With me today is Mrs. Oder. Mrs. Oder is the transportation supervisor. I think our goal today is really just to paint a picture of what goes on in transportation. There are a lot of moving pieces. So we really want to educate the board and the community on, one, the good things that we're doing, but also some of the challenges and some of the next steps, recommendations that we have for the board. So you do have an agenda in front of you. Before I turn this over to Mrs. Oder, I just want to briefly go over the agenda. First item, we're going to talk about the history of this department. We'll get into the department structure. We'll look at positions. We'll look at the different tiers. We'll look at our afternoon trips that we have. We'll get into some challenges. I think it's important that we are out there and addressing some of these challenges. We'll look at our recruitment of bus drivers. We've done some things in the past several months to try to retain some bus drivers. And then the final steps, we have some recommendations for the board, maybe a hiring bonus conversation, and maybe an attendance incentive. So those are just kind of some next steps. I'm going to turn this over to Mrs. Oder. Again, you have the agenda, and feel free to ask questions as we go through.
Thank you.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. So I'm a little nervous today, so just bear with me. I've been in the district for 20 years. The last 11 have been in transportation. Lots have changed. So much has changed since I've been in transportation. The history of transportation department, since 2019, we've added 8 more route vehicles on the road. We've gone from 59 vehicles to 66 routed vehicles. The add-ons were mostly due to growth in the district, as well as limiting the amount of time that students are on a bus. So they're not over more than an hour, Regina. So we've worked really hard on that. We currently have 151 AM and PM routes, 22 midday routes, being run by 66 daily route vehicles. Those routes run approximately 6,200 miles a day. We run probably 1.2 million a year. We have 302 daily AM and PM routes with 22 plus 22 midday routes. The structure of our department, myself, so one supervisor, we have 3/4 of a router. He comes 6 hours a day. An administrative assistant and a clerk. I have 4 mechanics, 63 bus drivers, 5 van drivers, and 11 full-time aides. Like I said, our district, which you guys know, is approximately 100 square miles. Our fleet is 69 buses, which includes 4 special needs buses, and we also have 6 vans. We average, I already mentioned this, we average 6,270 miles daily and over 1 million per year. We run in a 3-tier system. So in the mornings, we have Tier 1, which is high school, middle school. You can see the number of routes. There's 55 routes on that. Tier 2 is elementary and our parochial. Elementary, 35 routes, parochial, 15. And we have our primary ECC route, which is kindergarten through 3rd grade, which is 48 routes. We also run 3 out-of-district special needs routes. Currently 1 bus and 2 vans. PM, pretty much the same thing, high school, middle school, 58 routes. Tier 2, elementary and parochial, 32 for elementary, 13 for parochial. Primary ECC, 45 routes, and we run the same 3 out-of-district special needs routes with 1 bus and 2 vans. So, leading into our trips. We've had some trips that we've had to cancel this year. And we kind of wanted to explain where our problem has come in. With the trips get earlier every year. They seem to request earlier buses. And if you look at we run three-tier busing system in the afternoon, and our buses do not get in time to cover those kinds of times.
These are field trips, right?
These would be field trips, sporting
not students,
events, yes, yeah, extracurriculars after school. So our, the earliest bus that we have come in would be 3:45, and that's 4 buses. The amount of trips, it's crazy, 2:30. Buses return to the lot at 4 o'clock is 3 buses, 4:15, 11, 4:30, 9. So you can kind of see where I'm going. There's not buses in early enough to cover the 2:30 requested trip times. There's not enough drivers returning to the lot to take those early trips. We do have a solution that we hope will help next year. We're trying to prepare for 26, 27, and we hope to create routes that will free up some drivers in the afternoon to possibly do those early trips. Again, that has to be run through you guys, the union, I mean, there's a lot of things that come into it, but we do have thoughts for trying to make that better next year. Challenges. So right now, we currently have 7 long-term routes, drivers that are out for miscellaneous reasons. Mostly are medically related. There were 2 unforeseen resignations in the past 3 weeks. We currently have 1 open route and 4 standby driver routes, which are, the standby drivers is who fills in for people who don't come to work. How we cover routes on a daily basis, we have 3 standby drivers. We have 1 sub-driver that drives every day we ask him. We have 2 of our mechanics that drive pretty much every morning and every afternoon. We have 2 office staff that drive, and we have a router. Our router also is licensed to drive, so we have to bring all of them in. Potentially, right now, I have in training, I have 1 driver that's in training. He tests, I believe he tests Thursday, so hopefully we can have him on the road next week. I have 1 ready for board approval, just waiting on a few little things to get him board approved at the next meeting. I have 2 mechanics that are in training, and I have 5 applicants that have applied, and they're going through the hiring steps right now. We have had to do a few cancellations lately, and at the bottom of that page are the dates that they were canceled, the number of drivers that we had absent that day, the number of aides absent, and then we canceled 2 routes one day, 3 routes the next, and then the 9th and the 10th, we've had to cancel 1 route.
Just let me jump in here a minute. If you notice, you look at the question, how do we cover routes on a daily basis? There are 9 drivers that we can pull from to cover routes. But if you look down this number, you have 11, 13, 14, 15. So we just don't have enough people at this moment of time to cover some of these open routes. The good news is, like Kelly said, we have 9 plus people in the process to get their bus certification. So we do think we have a plan to fix this problem. Unfortunately,
Right.
this moment of time, we've had to cancel some routes, which again, our goal in this department is to transport students safely
Right.
and also every day. So our department really, most of the staff down there are working 12-hour days for weeks at a time.
Yeah.
So they are working very hard, and they take this very seriously when we have to cancel routes. So this is not done lightly. I know Mrs. Morgan and I have had conversations. We break up routes and just try to get kids home.
Yeah,
and-
that's what I was
Tell
going
them
to
why you
explain
have,
that, yeah.
you have 9 people to put in, but you've only
Yeah.
canceled 1 route and you had 14 people out.
Right.
So let's talk about that.
So I can explain that, and this is bizarre. If you ever want to see craziness, just stop at the transportation office any day. So when it's like that, we cover what we can with our 9 people, and then we look at what routes we can essentially break up, and we can it's like a puzzle, and we just place a little bit of this route on that bus, a little bit of this route on that bus, and the drivers are amazing. They are willing to help. Like every morning, we're at the board looking, where can we cut up, where can we put that piece? And we've been able to, well, like you said, we had 15 people off on the 10th, and we only had to cancel 1 route. So we were able to break them up enough morning and afternoon that we only had to cancel 1 route. So, And that's kudos to drivers as well, because they're great about helping us out. And the mechanics drive every single day. Chad drives.
Let me just make one more point. So when you pull, the two mechanics, or you pull the office staff, which is great, and we thank them for helping, the challenge is it takes away from their job they have to do.
Yes.
So it's just, rob Peter, pay Paul but again, our goal is to get kids home.
Yep.
But it's definitely many, many challenges. You want to get into, yeah.
Yeah, what we've done as far as recruiting. So we held a job fair on November 8th down at the high school, and it was received well. We had several drivers come in. In fact, the one that tests this week, we met him at the job fair. He's got students in the district, and that's where he initially came, was to the job fair. When I get applications, I send them a list of steps, which I think you guys have a copy of that, of how to proceed to get your license to drive, what all you have to go through. It's not an easy process. It's nothing you can do fast. There's class time. There's time with our OBI. There's so much that they have to do, and the amount of responsibility that they take on it's incredible. There's no wonder that there's a nationwide shortage of bus drivers. Brad put out some social media stuff. It's in there as well, just advertising. You think of anything else, Chad? Social media, the job fair?
Where did Brad put these out? This sheet here, has he put this out already, or?
Like this, he has put it out. It was on, I
All
think,
over
social media,
correct.
Facebook and,
Yes.
Facebook?
yeah.
Anywhere else, or?
The school website, it was on there, I
Just on
think.
the website.
He might have used Twitter and Instagram, but Facebook is his
Facebook is-
main platform.
Let me talk a minute about some recommendations that our department has. Again, this is a national shortage of bus drivers. It's not just a Little Miami issue. It's locally, it's in the state, it's the national level. So how do we, one, attract bus drivers, and then two, how do we keep our own bus drivers? So I think the first thing is, I'd like to have a conversation about a hiring bonus. If you look at some area districts, I know Batavia has a hiring bonus. I know that Indian Hill has a hiring bonus. First Student and maybe Peterman do also. Again, I don't think we make that decision today, but I think there has to be some conversations about, how do we get people in the door? And that can't just be a one moment of time incentive. Like Batavia, what they do is I think a $1,500 bonus when you get board approved, and then 6 months you get a $500 bonus, and then at the 1 year mark you get another chunk of money. So I think we need to break it up over time to, again, attract people. The pool of candidates is very slim for bus drivers. So I think a hiring bonus, I think we need to have more conversation. But then the second piece of that is how do we take care of our own employees? So in our collective bargaining agreement, we have an attendance incentive. And that language says if you miss less than 1 day, you get a $125 check every semester. So I believe that we need to work with the teacher or the classified union to really explore what that looks like. I don't think that $125 is making an impact. And again, I don't know what that magic number is, but I do think we need to have more conversation about, one, a hiring bonus, and then also how do we take care of our own employees that are here. And to be honest, attendance is the crux of our problems in transportation. It just is. And I get people are sick, I understand that. And the people that are there have great efforts to make sure we get kids home safely. So there are a lot of complexities of this department. Hopefully we answered some of your questions. We're free to, if you have any questions, to ask us. Try to lay this out so you could have a better understanding. But if you just want to spend 1 day in transportation, it is really mind-boggling to see what that staff does each day. It's truly a puzzle.
It's a puzzle, yeah.
With the call-offs, has this been steady? Has it been like this for over time? Like, has this been like this last year, years prior?
The beginning of our year wasn't so bad. Last year was terrible. The beginning of our year wasn't so bad. Since we've been back from Christmas, it's been bad. And right now, like I said, we have The 7 that are off are medical reasons. Yeah, it's just, it's been this way for several weeks.
Compared to prior years, you know, like at
Yeah.
your time, have you seen an increase? Is this how it's always been? It's just-
It did not used to be this way, but it's been this way for a few years, yeah.
What time does the bus drivers report?
It varies depending on what routes they're on. I have bus drivers that come in, well, our standbys come in at 5 and 5:15 in the morning. They come in just at various times. It depends on when their route starts. But they pull out of the lot, I would say, starting about 5:50, and then for the high school routes. And then in the afternoons, they start pulling out about 1:40.
All right. And I'm going to jump around here. I
That's
took
fine.
some notes. A router.
I'm used to that.
What's the role of a router?
Role of a router, preparing the routes, like running through the software and making our routes up.
Okay.
Creating, getting the kids on the buses in the most efficient way that we can see. We could probably, I just had this conversation, things could be tightened up a little bit, but then what do you do in a case like where we're at now? There's no room to move and no room to, like there's breaks that drivers have between where they can go to the restroom or whatever, called a layover, they call it a layover. And we've been throwing things in on them during their layovers, so. The router prepares the routes, creates the routes, through our software. We use Versatran, Tyler Tech.
How come we don't have a full-time router?
He actually stayed on as he was part-time before.
And we approved,
Yeah, and he's gonna, to the 6 hours, right? Yeah, and then I think he's agreed to be 8 next year, yeah.
next year.
I think our long-term plan would have a full-time router.
Yes, that would be
We have a
the
3-year
perfect
plan. That's part of that process.
Do you have a copy of that plan?
Yeah, we present that to our superintendent. Yeah, we can,
Yeah, I guess the question is, like, we have two things right now. We're looking at one, surviving now, and then the other thing is setting us up for success next year.
Absolutely.
And I will tell you, and certainly I don't want to come in here and beat anybody up, but the frustration, as I can see from the community who's reached out to me, is that this has been going since August, right? We've canceled athletic events since August, and the question is, what are we going to do now to fix it till the end of the year? I mean, next year briefs well, right? And I think we have to look long-term at that, but what can we do right now to avoid any more cancellations? And obviously, safety is it. I think one of the challenges we have is kids getting dropped off in the neighborhoods at the wrong stops. And I don't know if that's because if they need to, in a hurry to try to free up a bus to move on.
I would say that's
Or-
more maybe a sub-driver, because we have sub-drivers, unfortunately, and, I mean, that's not okay. You know, they know that's not okay. You have drivers that do door-to-door stops that aren't supposed to be door-to-door stops, that are supposed to be on a corner, so, you know, the sub gets that route sheet.
Who's overseeing that then?
Well,
Make
we
sure-
all do. I mean, I can route the buses as well, so it's, like, I help route. We can all pretty much do that, but our main person we kind of run through, I mean, I can route a bus. I can run a route, I can create a route.
All right, I'm sorry. I don't understand a router. A router sits,
so every bus driver has a route sheet.
yes,
So you want to talk about what a route sheet is?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a GPS on paper, telling them turn here, drop there. And you have to have like, I can look at a route, this is just an idea. Like, I can look and create a route because I know where the kids are at. But I'm not so great with the big picture, and that's what a router does. Every school has routers. Every school has routers, yeah. They're familiar with the software, they know the ins and outs, you know, every district has routers, yeah.
So, Mr. Wallace, to answer your question, I think it's a couple levels. First of all, we're working with each individual driver about attendance. We have conversations with drivers about attendance. We follow the collective bargaining agreement, so that's one piece of it. But I think it goes back to the attendance incentive, I think is a big piece of this. And I think the conversation of, a hiring incentive. I think, again, it's multiple layers. But again, the pool of candidates is very slim. So how do we stand out and attract drivers that want to come to Little Miami? So again, it's not just a singular answer, but I think, how do you get a pool of candidates that, can fill positions so we're not scrambling every day to pull people from other jobs? So it's going to take time. It's not something that we can fix tomorrow. I do think we have a good plan on how to address this.
Can I address something? You mentioned that you're getting feedback from the public
Yes.
about safety, and probably from bus drivers about safety. We recently had an in-service. We're trying different things. We had a great in-service about if someone were to take over the bus, like, an armed
Intruder,
person,
right.
an intruder, someone that's not supposed to be there. These gentlemen that gave this were great. It was a great experience for the drivers. They learned a lot. So, I mean, we have approached the safety thing several times since this year, the beginning of the year. We had our in-service, beginning of the year, we had an in-service, was it last month?
So we had the January in-service, but prior
It was
to
in
that, we
January.
had a staff meeting on safety issues. So we tried to listen to drivers, their needs. We have our onboard instructors that will actually teach our drivers on proper, safety procedures. So safety obviously is the number one issue while we're here. We want to make sure kids are safe, but we've addressed that at multiple levels, and we'll continue to do that also.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. So, and I'm going to jump around here. So the router, and then that job of the router would be if there's traffic or anything like that, they would assist you with finding an alternate route.
Well, we all do that in the office, everybody in the office. I mean, the radio is, if they call in and there's a accident on Zor Road, they'll ask for permission. We tell them if they don't know how to go around it. I mean, that's pretty much everybody's job in the office, is to just assist the drivers.
Oh, so it's not the router, I thought it was
The
the
route-
router that
That's-
route them back to it. and then
Well,
they
the
would-
the router creates the routes that is on their paper, but things happen constantly, all day long. There's a road closure, there's an accident, there's a garbage truck, so they will ask permission to go off route, and we give it to them, and we tell them, well, you could go down Foster Mainville, you could go across the road. So that's not really, the router just creates the system and gets them on so we can do our bid packets for bid day for the drivers to bid on their routes and.
But then what does he do on a daily basis? That's what I don't
Yeah.
understand, because it's like, if he just does that, because the routes are pretty much made
Right.
ahead of time, right?
But they
And
change
they'll
all,
change,
yes, they change all the
adding a
time.
student or taking a
Mhm.
student off, pretty minor, but then
Yeah.
like for the rest of the day.
Well, you
That's
would
why I
think
thought he
that,
was
but,
answering the-
yeah.
the
Yeah,
questions.
there's kids moving in and out continuously, which I'm sure you're aware of. So you're putting them on routes, taking them off routes. Drivers come in and say, I don't like how this goes. He reroutes it. He runs it the way they do. That's a hard question to answer because we're all,
I
like,
was
all of us
thinking
kind of
something
do
different,
that.
like
Yeah.
driver responsible for
Yeah.
the calls that come in.
Well, he does, he won't answer the phone. I mean, we all pretty much work together. We can all route a student, but when it comes to there's so much that goes into routing. Like, you don't think about this, but the building times, versus the bell times versus the bus times, how long does it take to get from point A to point B, and you only have this much time before, okay, your elementary school route ends. You get the elementary kids in, you've got just so much time to get the next tier in.
Right.
Does that make sense? It's hard to explain that. It's really hard to explain that.
And
You're locked into time the whole day. And it has to go, yeah.
another piece is the amount of time that Kelly and the router, Mr. Buxton, spend reviewing bus video is amazing, how much time they spend on a daily basis for student discipline. Again, we're trying to address that, but it takes a lot of time to review bus video, give that recommendation to the principal. So obviously, Mr. Buxton and Mrs. Oder are both pulling videos and watching videos and giving recommendations.
So are the aides there in part for that? Are they with a student, or what are the aides doing?
The aides ride the special needs buses.
Okay.
Yes, and special needs vans,
Okay.
yes.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for taking on this job because it is huge and complicated, especially in our district. And I know that we're all going for the same thing, safety of our students and not overburdening our parents, which is also good. And us meeting tonight, I think, is wonderful. I think this is a huge step in the right direction. So thank you for being here and taking time to kind of talk this through. I did have a couple questions. One of the thoughts that I had is that we are geographically a little different than a lot of our other districts, and I feel like maybe our plan should take that into account. Maybe we're not fully accounting for how big we are and therefore how much time it's taking to get here and there. So that was one of my thoughts, and particularly with respect to trying to get back in time for the field trips or the athletic stuff. I don't know if there's another district that's similar to us geographically that we might look at that is handling it and getting the buses back in time. And then the other thought I had is that this issue that in February where there were so many drivers absent, I feel like that's the other big piece is the absences and the cancellation of things and where that's coming from. And I know that's what you're looking at and trying to get a handle on. But I don't know if it has something to do with climate or any number of things that could be going on. But I am wondering if you could identify one thing as you think it's the most important thing that might be contributing to this. What do you think it is?
Oh, it's to the absenteeism?
Yeah, and yes.
Yeah. I can honestly say the group that is out right now, it's medically necessary stuff that's happening. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so like, this just seems like a lot of drivers that are out over a short period of time.
Yeah, well, they're on the buses with the kids that have the flu and the bugs and they get all that. So when you have seven long-term people off, and you have 2 or 3 that get the flu, those numbers add up pretty quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of sickness right now.
A lot of sickness, yeah, in the winter.
And we
Yeah.
had 2 resignations in the past 3 weeks, so
3 weeks.
that makes an impact. It's literally multiple complexities
Yeah.
to this problem. But I like the idea about other districts. Unfortunately, they're in the same situation that we are,
Yeah.
Everybody is.
which I'd love to pull from a local district. They're just scrambling like we are too.
Yeah, I know Lebanon has the same problem we have. They can't get, when you have your primary and elementary buildings that are not, like, we don't load the primary and the elementary kids until 3:50 and 4 o'clock, 4:05. So that really makes the 2:30 window difficult when you're not even loading your students until 4 o'clock.
No, that has changed though. Is it just because the athletics have upped their time? Is the buses always have ran this way? Because we were able to make athletic events.
They used to be
prior.
later. The athletics used to be later. I don't know the timing on it, I don't know how many years it's been, but it seems that they just get earlier and earlier every year. And I know that it's not just, I think it's every district. Every district has the same problem with a time.
If we were fully staffed, that would make a difference.
It would help,
So there's other pieces that are along with it.
yeah. Well, just for instance, the contract says that drivers can take 2 off routes a year, which means they can sign up for a field trip. If I can cover the field trip, they can take that field trip. If I can cover their route, they can take the field trip. We haven't been able to do that this year. So the main problem is the attendance, and if we could get people at work and fully staffed, the field trips would come.
Because
They
we
would come
understand
along,
that.
because we would be able to have, the mechanics are willing to drive them, we would be able to cover a couple off routes. There's just so much, and it all comes back to the attendance.
Yeah, so, I mean, you have 2 goals. One is attracting people, having more bus drivers, and then sustaining them. Not having them leave and that type thing.
Correct, yes.
I have a question. You have 4 mechanics. Do they all work every day together, or are they staggered out somehow, or?
They do, they all four work together. Well, there's 2 that come in early, they come in at 5:15. There's one that comes in at 7:30, and there's one that comes in at 9. So there's a mechanic there all day. When the buses are on the road, there's a mechanic
Okay.
in the garage.
They can do anything with a bus, they can fix anything on it, they don't have to send the bus out or have somebody
we
else
have-
come in?
We have quite a few newer buses that are under warranty, and our head mechanic does a great job of trying to get the years out of the warranty as opposed to the miles, so he switches them in and out. So they go out for warranty work, of course, but the mechanics do everything else.
How many buses are down at any certain time because of mechanical breakdown?
They get them up, pretty much get them up that day.
2 or
Yeah.
3 maybe most
Yeah,
at one
the most,
time.
but they get them back up pretty quick.
Okay,
Does everybody have a CDL that's in the transportation department?
No,
I do not,
I did not either.
but he drives a van. He can drive a van.
Don't say
if
that
I
too
can.
often.
We've
Is that a
requested for
separate, like-
Kelly to not. That has been a request from years before. And the reason being is that somebody has to be there to answer phones. Somebody has to be there. So we can't have Kelly out driving a bus and the office empty when phone calls come in to ask for different types of help. So Kelly was actually requested 11 years ago
Yeah,
when she
when I
started
came in.
to not get her CDL because we needed her to stay in the office and help.
I have another question on the mechanics.
Sure,
There's enough work there to keep them all busy all day long?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
But
Now,
if we have-
consider they drive in the morning and they drive in the afternoon.
they're required to do that?
If I need them, they are.
So it pulls them off from their mechanics'
does.
duties?
It
But they
does.
still get their mechanic work done regardless of that, you're
Yes.
saying?
Yes, they do.
They work some long hours.
Yeah, they do.
I mean,
To
we've
get their
got
work
some
done.
Amazing staff.
Yes.
Drivers, aides.
But this department can't sustain that. I mean, as a human, you just can't sustain working 12-hour days for weeks at a time. So,
Probably wishes for a 12-hour day.
I have another question
Yeah.
on this. I'm still sticking on this. In your opinion, how do they feel about being pulled to go drive away from their mechanic duties?
They do not ever argue with me. If they're on their clock time, during their work hours, if I ask them, they go. They don't argue with me about that.
There's nobody else that can work on the buses but those 4 guys?
Well, now 2 of our mechanics right now do not have their CDLs. Only 2 have CDLs.
So only 2 are actually being pulled to drive?
the 2 new ones are in the process of getting
Yeah.
their license.
But they have to have their license because they have to be able to go if someone calls in and their bus is broke down or there's been an accident, they have to take them a bus, bring the bus back. So they have to
Okay.
have their CDL regardless. I mean, my goal would be to not have to ask them to drive every day, because they have plenty to keep them busy.
And let me just say, our employees are great. I mean, if we ask them to do something, they do it. But also, it's taken away from
What they're
the work they
supposed
have
to
to
be
do.
doing.
So you got that balance. But our employees are great in terms of
Yeah.
stepping up and trying to help us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess the administrative assistant and the clerk, would they not be able to answer phones? Or like, I don't know I guess I just don't know the
Yeah.
Yeah.
descriptions of the.
Yeah, we all answer the phone. The administrative assistant does have a CDL, so she does drive if she's there. The clerk is a van driver, so she does have to fill in at times. I mean, everybody it's just a constant moving.
So how many bus drivers do we need each day to cover every single route?
Well, in a perfect world, I would have 7 standbys. Right now, I have 3.
How many, no, I'm sorry, how many bus drivers do we actually need? We're not counting standbys. How many, we have 63 bus drivers right now. In a perfect world, everything's covered. How many of those bus drivers? Is it 63? Everyone has a route and that's it?
Well, I mean, I would think that we would need, I don't know, I've never thought about it like that.
So is it 63
unfortunately.
plus a 7 standbys?
I would say it's at
So
least,
70.
I would
We
say
need,
at least.
in a perfect day, we need 70,
Correct.
okay? And right now, we have how many?
Well, open positions, we have,
We have 63 drivers right now.
63, and then how many standbys?
We have 3 of the 7 that
So-
we are permitted to have.
All right, so from August, we've been short, and we've had 1 job fair. And I say this because I'll tell you right now, I talked to Regina about the hiring bonuses. I'll go a step further and do a referral bonus for those bus drivers or any employee that can find a bus driver. And then I'd go as far as to say, what can we do to make an environment for our drivers not to, and I agree with you, $120 is not much, doesn't get much anymore. If you go to the store, it certainly doesn't get far. So I would aggressively look at those items like right now, hopefully maybe February, if the board's okay with it, bring some ideas. I mean, we have got to fix this problem, and we like, again, we look at it twofold. You know, let's look at next year, I got it, but this year, what can we do to mitigate some of it? How much does it cost to train, for someone to get a CDL? How much does it cost Little Miami to get a
Well,
CDL?
The class itself, the pre-service class they go through Warren County ESC is $150 for a new driver. Drug test and T8 physical, I'm not sure the cost of that because I never see that receipt.
Yeah.
It's probably, I would say, $65 to
That's what I was thinking. That's
$85
probably
a
60 to
driver.
80.
And then,
Yeah.
how much time is invested in
67,
training? How many hours of training do they have?
They would be an average new person, probably 25 to 30 hours.
25 to 30 hours plus an OBI, right? Or
Yes.
what is it?
Yeah,
Yep,
an
OBI.
yeah,
An OBI,
for
okay?
that 25 to 30.
So we're talking, this is several $1,000s.
Yes.
Sure.
And when they leave us, they take that CDL with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there, but I guess what I'm getting at is, it would be cheaper to do what we can to retain the bus drivers we have, as opposed to
Absolutely.
trying to grow new ones.
Sure.
Yeah,
So I definitely would look at what we can do to maintain, to keep them.
Yeah, I think we have more conversations with Mr. Gonda. We'll pull in Mrs. Vicky from the union, have more conversations about what this looks like, and, you know, come back with some ideas.
Yeah,
But again, it's twofold. It's getting people in the door, but it's also that attendance incentive
right.
to, you know, keep our own employees.
The other part that I thought would be important is, and this may already be happening, is providing the bus drivers a venue for contributing to the conversation about
Yeah.
what they think should be done, what they're seeing that's not working.
So every month, Mrs. Morgan and I, Mr. Malone, HR, we have labor management meetings with Mrs. Vicky. So we'll continue to have those conversations, and we can pull other drivers into, you know, conversations about what are some options moving forward.
That's great.
Yeah.
And my door's open all the time. They can come to me anytime. My door's open all the time.
But Mr. Wallace, let me just go back to the fall time. We did it, I think, Mr. Underwood really blast out the hiring process in social media. So then we realized that's not working, so that's when we decided to do a job fair.
That was great.
We had 7 people show up, which is great. But so, again, we've aggressively addressed this since probably last summer. The challenge is the pool of candidates is very slim.
how many bus drivers did we capture from that open house?
So
The
seven,
job fair.
7 showed up,
Seven
and how
showed
many
up.
are in the pipeline now to get trained?
2,
Seven,
Two.
two. Okay, good. That was successful.
Yeah.
yeah.
Have we thought about doing another one?
Yeah, we're in survival mode right now, but the goal is to, maybe we can do something in the springtime, and, you know, we could make that more broader with, you know, custodian positions or food service, or, I mean, we can open this up, but yes, we've had those conversations.
Yeah, I definitely would encourage you to have
Yeah.
one, if not a monthly. You know, have it be a standing thing, just to keep, you know, being there to try to grow
Where
these
would
bus drivers.
Where would you do it? Would you go to a basketball game and set up a table? I mean, what?
But you're
what-
right, that's great thinking.
You know.
You think outside the box.
Yeah.
Sporting, because, and I guess we're gonna deviate and try to solve this problem, but just some ideas would be, yeah, definitely.
Like a sporting event?
Yes, and we need bus drivers for the sporting events, right?
Right.
But anywhere you're gonna see people, hell, at Kroger's, anywhere you have it, I think,
Yeah.
how much does a bus driver get paid an hour?
The starting pay right now is $23.03 with no experience.
$23.03.
Yeah, with no experience.
And
Great,
how-
great benefits, right, Mr.
Great
Gonda?
benefits.
Yes,
Great
They do?
benefits.
Do-
great
they do?
Benefits are very
Oh,
good.
yeah.
All right,
absolutely.
for you home gamers, how many hours do they need to work to get full-time insurance?
Over 3.5.
18.
18
Hours a
hours,
week.
Yeah.
and they get that.
3.6 a day.
Yep, so I think
Wow.
that we should be having people knocking down our door. And I guess the question I have to ask is, why aren't they? And I guess I'll let you guys do some internal reflection as to why, and what can we do to get people to knock down the door. If we're, you know, help, $23 an hour, 18 hours in your full-time medical,
But there's a nation, I mean, this isn't just us. This is
Mi-
every district.
Ms. Rawl, I hear you, and you have great
Yeah.
ideas, but this is a national shortage.
I got it. But when they call up saying the Monkey Bus or whatever it is closed, it's a Little Miami
Sure.
problem, and that's what I'm elected
And I
to
think
do.
we have a great plan to address
And
it.
people are calling me.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to hear about your plan.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear about that.
It may be nationwide, but that doesn't bother us. We only have this one to deal with, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Have you
But
thought
understand the
about,
pool of candidates is very slim, too.
Yeah.
have you thought about billboards?
Have not, but that, we can definitely consider that.
There's one on 22 there, both sides, and I know they work.
It's a great suggestion.
So, no, and again, I appreciate you guys coming. I really do. I think this is long overdue. We should have had this with the previous
I
board.
agree.
So, and any, I guess this would be a first of many conversations we have. Do you have anything to add, Wayne?
I just want to say thank you. 6,000 plus miles a day. I don't see how you do it. So, and you never hear anything, hardly ever hear anything negative. So thank you for all the work that you put into that and planning. It just doesn't happen like that.
It doesn't. I
Like you
appreciate
said, that
Thank
national
you.
shortage.
We work hard.
It's not going to go away right away.
Sure.
It's going to take time.
Yeah.
The,
Thank you.
what
Thank
I
you for that,
understand,
Wayne.
it started more than 8 years ago when the big stores decided they were going to home deliver. They stole all the drivers. So,
Yeah, Amazon.
anyway, so
That's a good point.
thank you for the work that you put in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Do you
that.
have-
Thank
do
you
you
very
have
much.
anything?
That's it? No, thanks.
Thank you.
Diane? Mandy? Okay, no, again, I appreciate you coming here to give an update. I certainly want to thank the bus drivers out there. I know when it's minus 10 degrees, not like to get out of bed. I realize that you guys have probably been up for 2-3 hours starting the buses. So certainly that is appreciated by our bus drivers. I think the community appreciates them. I think sometimes we get frustrated, though, because maybe the communication's not trickled down as far as what some of the issues and concerns are, and the parents depend on our busing. So whatever we can do as a team, I think it's very important that we come and we solve this problem. So again, I look forward to the next discussion with this.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so the next item we have is board goals and retreat schedule. I guess I can talk on the need for the board goals and retreat schedule. We had discussed about, as a board, getting together and getting synced up on our goals, to keep this board more focused on the priorities and to make sure that our priorities trickle down to the administration so they can also, I guess, work toward the same goal, so we're all rowing the same direction. We talked about a retreat schedule being on a weekend. I think there's some discussion about what it's going to entail for the full-time staff, for the administration to be a part of this retreat, and I think on the board we have some conflict. We're trying to work out some time. So do you have anything you want to add to this, Omar?
Sure. So this was kind of a small-scale example where you first hear from a department, and then when you, as you're trying to figure out the goals for the overall district, what do you want to elevate to the top things to work on? If you just hear from one department, you're like, boy, let's throw every resource at this. And then, but, you know, you hear from other departments one by one, and then you're like, oh, okay, now let's, and then maybe amongst you, you have different perspectives, and there's a conversation that happens, and then ultimately that leads to, these are the top 3 to 5 focus areas. Right now, we do have, and the alignment you discussed, for example, and again, this is not a criticism, just like the alignment we're trying to bring. Currently, there are 3 superintendent overarching district goals, and transportation isn't one of the 3. Now, it doesn't mean that it wasn't being worked on, it's just not the top 3. So we want to get to the point where everybody's on the same page as to what those are. Now, can that be done, so if you just, so this was a small scale with one department and getting the board like essentially this little bit of background, and before you can even have the conversation, if, think about all the other ones, can that be all done in one day? Yes. There are districts I've been to and whatnot, they basically schedule, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours, where they basically have round robin with every, you know, department coming in and doing a presentation, and then the afternoon, the board sort of says, okay, we've absorbed all this, let's put up what our ideas are, and then you have this sort of filtration process of conversation within the board to kind of, and with the superintendent, of course, to rise up to the top. And then ultimately, those goals end up becoming the what you measure the district against a year later, you know, at the end of the year. you know, well, in terms of performance evaluations, in terms of, at least, not in this district, but in other districts, they tie them to bonuses for the superintendent. I mean, it's tied to that performance issue. It could be a percentage of a bonus if you accomplish so much on board goals, or it doesn't have to be, but that is a direction that some districts go in. But it's kind of the very first question is, do you want to do this all in sort of one day, or do you, because of the scheduling issue, do you want to break this up into multiple sessions like this, where we have, you know, it'll just take a little bit longer, obviously, if you take 2 or 3 departments on one session like this, and then come back a week later or 2 weeks later, and that kind of gets into your scheduling. If you want to do sort of one full day, that's typically more typical of how it's done, but it's, again, whatever is, you know, the board can accomplish from a scheduling perspective. But from a time commitment, you have to be able to hear several different, absorb it and then be able to talk about it, so.
Yeah, it is helpful going into making a decision like this to know we're listening to a presentation from how many departments, and each presentation would take about how long, and then obviously we could easily factor in with the time that we would need to digest the information as a group. But with that first piece being undefined, it's kind of like you're taking a stab in the dark. But I am open to making either scenario work, where we are either doing several short-term visits, but I can tell you I will have more conflicts with that one, but I'm willing to make it work and figure it out. For me, it is more realistic and easier if it's a one-day thing right now. But if the rest of the board likes the idea of spreading it out, then, I'll make that work.
I like the idea we can do a one day. I think we were worried about the staff was the issue, why we looked at doing it, breaking it out. But if we do it one day and it's just information receiving, we can always have follow-up breakouts if something were to, like we're doing now for transportation. If we come up to an area and say, you know what, I want to maybe bring the people back or to rebrief this or to give us an update, we can always call that back. But I think that information receiving, we can do that in one day, because I think it's just going to be kind of, my understanding, just one way.
Well, it typically, I mean, the way I've seen it done, and again, it doesn't typically go this much back and forth in the sense of this was a lot of, you might say in the weeds. I mean, obviously it's important for understanding the mechanics of it, but you're looking at a little bit higher level, and so it would be, typically an hour and a half or something in that range for, for each department to come up and say, these are the big picture, 30,000-foot view, issues that we think are doing really well and things that are that can be priorities, areas for improvement, things like that. And then it really shifts to becoming a conversation within the board as to, based on that, what would each of you, I mean, I'm sure each of you have your own opinions as to what, what are the priorities, and then you sort of create, the way I've seen it, and again, there's a lot of ways this can be done, but essentially, you put everything up on the board and you start sort of ranking them and then seeing what rises to the top through a conversation. But yes, once you've identified, let's say, for example, for the sake of argument, if transportation improvement is the #1 board focus area, well then yes, once it's been identified and approved or whatever, agreed to, then the implication of that would be that the superintendent would be bringing a plan, with the department to say, this is what we recommend, this is the top focus area for the district, and here are some options, and then you'd have this whole process of, reviewing and approving potential options for things. So that day basically is sort of a listening session in the morning and then a discussion session in the afternoon, if you want to break it up. It's not just 7 hours of listening, if that helps.
No, that makes sense. And when you said an hour and a half, you don't mean an hour and a half for each department?
No.
Because that would be a long presentation.
No, the goal is not to turn you into mini superintendents. The goal is to get enough of a sort of high-level understanding from each that you can kind of take that 30,000-foot view as a district and say, okay, now we have, enough of an idea as to what we want to really rank up as the top, areas. So it's not you're not to become a transportation expert or something, or IEP expert or special needs expert, whatever.
So do we want to pick a date to do that? Are we able to do that now? So
I actually left But we can pick a date, and then I can get back to you as soon as I get in my car and verify it.
Okay. How does your staff?
Well.
I guess
Terry and
who's
I-
going to be talking at this? Who do we want to give us what areas? Is that something
Well,
that we need to build?
as a starting point, go
So
Virginia, what?
I believe that it would be treasurer's office, human resource office, curriculum development, student services, transportation.
Food service.
Maybe it's not transportation, maybe it's administrative services, and below that would be transportation, food service.
Maintenance.
Maintenance, custodial services, that sort of thing.
Safety?
Safety, communications.
Okay.
How
think
how many is that, 7, 6? I lost track.
That was,
Me
it was a
too.
lot. It was a lot. It was,
It was 9.
9?
That's a lot.
When we talk about student services, below there you have multiple groups, right? When you talk about administrative services, below there, so those would be longer presentations, where some would be shorter because they are kind of a single focus, where others are a larger focus area.
And I'm assuming we would give them like guidance about what the content of the presentation should be, because otherwise it's going to be all over the map, and
100% agree.
just focus things onto things that are,
Kind of an overview and next steps is what
Yeah.
we were.
Overview of things that possibly need to be worked on or what they think.
so how soon, I guess, what's your schedule look like, Wayne or Dan?
For Terry and I to
I'm-
both be there, we've already looked at our calendars, and it's the end of March.
Okay?
in a
End
March.
of March. Do we have a date for the end of March that we're saying?
Well, I believe we said, Terry, March 21st and March 28th were the
Yeah.
first 2 Saturdays that we were both available.
All
And
right.
I will tell you, not everybody in the different departments are available on those days, so it may be that we might have to do a video on one of them, or we might have to get all of us and all of them on the same date.
Yeah, that
Sure.
would be
No, we
It's going to
can,
be, so.
crazy.
But Terry and I, the 7th you were not available, the 14th I'm not, right? And so it was the 21st and the 28th.
all right, let's, 21st, it's a Saturday.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd be in favor of, let's do the 21st. And then, as you mentioned, if they're unavailable, we can always have a mulligan, and maybe before one of our other school board meetings, we could meet prior to, and they can kind of give us the update there, or after. But we'll cross that bridge depending on the availability.
Or during the school board meeting. I mean, you could have a 5-10-minute presentation at a
Yep.
school board
That's true.
meeting.
Yep.
That's just a regular meeting as you lead up to the 20, you know. It's hard to absorb so many things all at once. So the
Correct.
more you break it up over time, the,
So March 21st, and then Diane, you're going to confirm, Wayne or Dan, you guys good with that? Mandy?
I'm good.
I'll do my best.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Awesome. Appreciate that, everyone. And then now we're going to go to,
I did want to mention one thing. There's been this discussion about strategic planning, and I want to sort of explain the difference between the two, what we're talking about here. So the basic structure of receiving feedback and discussing and coming up with goals is obviously the same, but the difference really is the time frame. And the level of resources involved. So if you look at something like these strategic plans that people do, and if you pretty much pick any district and you Google strategic plan, you'll come up with something similar to this. And the difference is that it's more like usually a 5-year, 3 to 5 year, 10-year kind of horizon. It's a much longer time frame than what are our goals for this year. And usually the way these kind of things are put together is they hire some kind of an outside consultant organization that comes in and does community surveys and discussion, and they bring in some experts, and there's a whole process with that. There are multiple firms that do that kind of work. We've already gotten some quotes from some of it. This is a question mark for so what we're talking about right now is sort of a more sort of focused internal, what are we doing for this coming year perspective. Now, at some point, you might say, okay, one of our goals is to initiate this kind of a process. And then options can be presented and considered. But you ultimately get to roughly the same place, which is these are the top 3 or 5. In this particular thing, I'm sure they have objective 2, objective 1, okay, and then they come up with their measurable, but the time scale is different. They're thinking more, you know, over a 5-year period or whatnot. So this was 2019 to 2024, for example. So that becomes a question at some point if the board wants to go more sort of long-term planning versus year-to-year kind of planning. I personally, I mean, I don't have a problem with long-term planning, but I think it's harder to, and we were discussing that with Regina, a lot of these plans, the further out it gets, the more it gets lost in the day-to-day, you know, like what are we doing for the next 2 months kind of problems. So I find it a little bit more effective to think more about 1 year at a time with a bigger picture in mind, but don't, like some people just spend a lot of time and a lot of energy. I mean, you could spend $100,000 developing something like this and then it sits on the shelf. And I don't think, you know, that's necessarily the best use of resources, but some people do that, and there is, I don't want to diminish it. There is value in bringing a wide net of input and getting a lot of, you know, there is some value obviously in terms of that. But in terms of like, you know, the immediacy of what are we doing this year to improve things this year, that's, I guess, the sweet spot in terms of practically moving the ball forward. It's harder to maintain a 5-year vision. I don't know. Anything to add on that?
No, you're exactly right. Some superintendents will say that their short-term goals are what they want to work on because long-term goals get put on a shelf, exactly what you said, and they sit there. And so to go through the efforts, so if we were to go through the efforts of a strategic plan, we would want to make sure that that it's a working document, that it's not a document that we put lots of energy into, lots of money into for us to file it on a shelf and pull it out once every 5 years. That is a useless document from my perspective. So a working document is what Omar and I have spoken about multiple times, that when you have a roadmap of where the district is going, and you want to stay on that road, right, I think that's a good thing. But if it is, I just have this end point way down here, and I have no map of getting there, then all of a sudden, somewhere between here and there, you're off on a tangent, and you've not hit your mark.
All right.
Well, I think they're all great things to consider. I think what we're starting with is a good start. I don't think we need to take on the world all at one time, but I think these are all good things that can be part of the discussion that we're starting with, you know, coming together as a board in a retreat.
Yep. And again, I don't want to denigrate or sound like I'm denigrating these outside consultants. There's obviously a range of pricing, and we can a la carte elements of it and whatnot. It's, you know, there's a lot to it, but just to kind of generically give a sense of what this could look like, and we can keep talking about it.
Okay. Well, right now, we're looking at 21st of March for our retreat. I guess location and times to be determined.
A retreat sounds so fun, but this is
Yeah.
not so.
All right.
It's
So,
The spa retreat.
Yeah, exactly.
moving on to the next item is the board, oh, I'm
Before
sorry,
we,
yes,
before we
Wayne.
go on, I would just like to say, don't we benchmark, don't we take a survey? This is where we're at before we start applying our goals and our wants and desires and all that. Shouldn't we be personally thinking, well, this is what we're doing pretty good, you know? So maybe we're not so hot in this area, but over these areas, we probably should concentrate a little bit more. So what I'm saying is, let's have a starting point.
Yeah. Wayne, you're exactly right. And so when we do those department presentations, that's going to be your compass.
Yes.
So you'll get to hear from each of the departments, and they'll kind of tell you where they are and the next steps that they see for their department. And then that will be your compass to say, you know what, I feel like this is a higher priority than that. And you can set your board goals that way. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does,
Yeah.
yes.
You could also integrate some element of parent survey, parent feedback, you know, those kind of things can, of course, be integrated to a lot of different ways. You can bring in people to do surveys. You can just send out an email and ask for like fill in the, but there's a lot of ways to do that, and that can be integrated in, you know, into this.
Yeah, if we get to that point, we did a survey last spring, over 500 people responded to our survey, so it was a good response. I mean, technically speaking, right, because we have almost 6,000 children, so 500, if you look at it that way, but in survey language, 500 is not a bad, response.
And there was all those separate meetings where they did the word,
We have all of those as
I
well.
don't know if it's called the word wall, I forget what it was.
Oh, what was that called?
But that was a lot of time, a lot of people.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right. Moving on, the next item is the next steps regarding transportation.
What I heard is that we're going to do a presentation either at the February or March board meeting, kind of coming back around to the thoughts that we had tonight and bringing it back around. We've got, I heard looking at billboards, I heard looking at signing bonuses, I heard attendance bonuses. Now, the attendance bonus, that is already in the collective bargaining agreement, so that would be an MOU if we did something that way. But, and looking at continuing job fairs, so just taking all of those ideas and wrapping our brains around it, and then bringing back what we're doing with those and how we're implementing them.
And Chad, you had mentioned that you have a plan already in place for the 3 years,
Yeah, we do have a 3-year systematic plan, yes.
so would you be able to present that in February, if you already have that plan?
Probably March would be better, but yes, we can definitely look at it, yes.
All right.
Well, so we present that plan to the district, and obviously some of it has been approved and some of it has not been approved. So, but yes,
No, I'd just be curious to read it, what you have and
Yeah.
what you presented, the 3-year plan. Maybe
Yeah.
Send it to us out as a read-ahead.
I can do that.
Present it, and then you won't be able to have anything by February?
I can get back with you on that answer.
All right.
I don't know that at this point, but definitely would love to share the plan that we put together to
Yeah,
make
I'd like to
changes.
see that, and
Yeah.
we'll just keep a close hold. You
Yeah.
know, we'll just not share it. If you could do me a favor and like draft all over it, so that way
Sure.
people understand it's just the plan that you briefed. When did you brief this, by the way?
Excuse me?
When did you brief it?
We had our planning meetings November? Yeah.
Okay, from November. Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Yep.
Thank you. And you'll be able to email that to us?
I sure will, yes.
Awesome. All right, next item. I guess before we go into executive session, does anyone have any comments before we move on to executive session?
This meeting or the next?
I guess we can do next meeting or this meeting?
Yeah, well, I'll wait for the next.
Next meeting, okay. Next meeting, so we'll go into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual, unless the employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual request a public hearing by division of Section 121.22 of the revised code. That being said, for executive session, invite the board members, our legal, treasurer, superintendent, and business manager.
We also invited our HR director unless we don't want him here.
Mike?
Mike? Yeah, I didn't see Mike, that's why. Oh, okay. And our HR director.
We're going to walk down the hall and into a conference room.
Why? I need a motion.
Good job.
I'll move.
Second.
Roll call?
Mrs. Horvath?
Yes.
Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Mrs. Bullock?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Thank you.
We take all of our stuff with us.
I am.